Welcome back to 99 Dnding, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the first episode. I hope my being a noob at editing wasn't too terrible to listen through. One quick disclaimer for this episode. You may sometimes hear my daughter in the background when I am doing some dialogue. I'm working on finding a better situation to record. However, it seems we have worked out the majority of the issues we had in the last recording. Like I said in the previous episode, bear with us. Each episode will be better and better, and I promise it will be worth it. Let's get into episode 2. Enjoy. Welcome back to 99D Ending, everybody. I'm just going to launch into a quick recap of what happened last session. Preparations for a long week of celebration of the Duke of Lumbridge were underway when a kitchen mishap led to a group of 4 individuals heading to a local farm to pick up more ingredients. Meanwhile, a caravan heading from the west was making their way to Lumbridge when they noticed a farmer under attack by some goblins, which the group and this caravan came upon at the same time. Upon saving the farmer, our characters introduced themselves to each other and headed back to Lumbridge Castle. While enjoying a drink, the group were summoned by the Duke himself to request that they look into a potential paranormal issue in the Lumbridge graveyard at the edge of town. We left off to the group agreeing to do so. Any questions, comments, or concerns before we get started, party?
None from Lug.
Nope.
I'm all
All
set
good.
here.
Awesome. So we will begin right where we left off. The Duke says, "Well, thank you for doing this favor for me. I really must be heading back into the castle to continue greeting the guests while they arrive this evening. It is a true pleasure meeting you all. Please, try to catch Father Eric either before or after the evening mass, which is set to begin fairly soon. If you need any equipment for travel, feel free to ask the guard." And he flashes a thanking smile at the group of you and heads towards the stairs. It is evening, about 5 to 6 p.m., and the sun is just beginning to fall into dusk in the sky and set over the forest to the west. What do you guys want to do?
I'd say we go find the Father Eric.
Everybody good with that?
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I'd
don't know what
say-
else we.
I know
could
where to
do.
find Father Eric.
Oh, perfect. Lead the way, please.
Okay, so Yoshi, you kind of lead the group towards the spiral staircase following the Duke, who is a pretty good distance ahead of you. And on your way past the kitchen, which smells amazing at this point, the cook pops out. "Ah, I'm glad I caught you. The Duke said you may have a late night and had me prepare a quick ration for each of you." And he hands each of you a small loaf of warm bread and a canteen of liquid. You're unsure of what it is at this point. And as you all walk past, he hands it out, and you notice a small crowd is beginning to gather across the castle courtyard, making their way into the church. What would you all like to do?
I'm gonna thank the cook for giving us the rations.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. It's not much, but it's what I had to spare on a quick notice. Hope it helps.
What's in the canteen, if I may ask?
Some tea.
Oh,
Hope that's okay with everybody. I can get water if anyone else prefers.
Sweet or unsweetened?
Unsweetened tea,
All
Yoshi. What would you guys want to do? This kind of group is across the courtyard, and they're waiting in line to get into the church, which is basically just across the road.
Is he outside?
You don't see Father Eric outside of
I mean,
this mass of people currently.
we should probably head into the church. Probably in there, most likely.
Okay.
Can we see if the graveyard is like
what
associated with
was
the
your
church if it's
first-
next to it?
Sorry, Harvey.
Yes, so I will move you over. So this door right here is where there is a group congregating and going inside, and behind the church is the graveyard. And there's just like a little path and a gate that enters into it.
I walk toward the group and ask one of them what's going on.
Oh, it's just evening mass. You look like you should be inside, Lug.
Yes. However, I was tasked to help with the festivities coming up. I had to help the cook. And Yoshi likes to mess things up, so we had to go get some extra ingredients.
It's all hearsay.
They give you a knowing nod and a shrug, and they just continue to walk in with their spouse to find a seat inside.
I turn back to the group and give them a head nod to follow along into the church.
So this is basically a weekly event, is mass. Things are usually different when people from across the continent come and visit. It's not a normal mass. They try to be as inclusive as possible of other people's beliefs and which gods they choose to worship. But for those that are religious, this is kind of the evening mass to kick off the week.
Before we go in, can you remind us what the Duke said was wrong with the graveyard? I can't
Yes,
remember.
so Father Eric had come to Duke to ask him if he had people to look into this paranormal activity that seems to be happening in the graveyard. And it's some sort of deity calling out to him, kind of scaring the people that visit the graveyard. And it's the favor is to figure out what's going on and try to clear it up, so it's not this week long of guests being spooked off from the ghost in the graveyard, basically. And he's unsure if it's a prank or if it's something real, but he just needs someone to look into it.
Thank
Maybe
you.
get some
And
little bit
Father
of
Eric
info
knows
from him.
about it.
He's the guy reporting it, right?
Oh yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
he's
that's
the
right.
one that
That's
asked the
right.
Duke for help.
But I turn to the group and I'm like, should all of us go in or should some of us kind of hang out and see what happens during the service? Because the graveyard is right here. I'm just wondering if some of us should just like hang out outside.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good idea too.
Me and
I could
Lug.
hide in the graveyard in like a tree or something and watch around if I see anything suspicious happening.
Okay, so who is going to stake out the graveyard? It
I'll
would
stake
be
it out.
I
Duvar.
go with Lug into the church.
Okay.
I'll go check out the graveyard.
I'm gonna stake out. I'm gonna sneak and hide somewhere and do recon.
Yeah, I'll follow my brother.
Okay. And Solana?
I think I'll go into the church just given that there's already two people in the graveyard. I'll go into the church and see what we might notice in there.
I want to look at Foz and be like, Foz, you're gonna have to be really quiet. Like,
Yeah,
like,
I'll go.
can you do that? I know we don't have the best history
Uh,
with hiding.
Yeah, I can probably do that. It's gonna be
All
fine.
right, all right, okay. I believe you.
Yeah, you should, because I'm gonna be quiet.
All right, don't let me down.
Okay.
Okay.
So the three of you enter the graveyard, and it's an old graveyard. This plot has been here for a very long period of time, and there's flowers here and there, fresh flowers that people have put here. You notice a mausoleum in the back corner, kind of stone wall made of brick, and a single door that enters it. But for the most part, it's just surrounded by an iron gate. The back of it butts up to the river, and outside the gate through the graveyard is the swamp that leads elsewhere along the Lumbridge Castle. So you guys are just kind of hunkering down, trying to stay out of sight.
Yeah, just
Yep.
I think
Okay.
we all should spread out and watch different areas and like stake it out.
Bundock is gonna want to check out the building in the corner.
Okay.
All right, and I'll hang out up here on the north side of the graveyard. Foz, you watch the gate.
Watching it.
All right. I want the three of you to make a quick stealth check for me.
Do we get better for a slow stealth check?
No.
16 for Fubar.
Bundock got a
20.
12.
Jeez. And a 20 for Foz. Okay.
She quiet as hell.
And then Bundock, go ahead and make an investigation check around this
Alrighty.
building.
Bundock got a 6. I'm not seeing a whole lot.
Yeah, just kind of seems like an old building. You can see that there's vines crawling up the brickwork.
Can I open the door? Is it locked or?
You check the door, and you notice it should be clasped shut, but the clasp is actually broken.
Can I lightly push it open?
Yeah.
And
So you push it open, and the door creaks. And you notice there's a single coffin inside this room.
just kind of do a perception, see if anything sticks out. Or would that be investigation?
Are you actively looking around for something, or just standing in the door looking around?
Like in the doorway, looking in the room, like just I guess like a clue or like something that seems out of place, or
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and make a investigation check.
an 11.
You look around and you notice there's fresh footprints in the dust around this coffin, as if it has been visited, but you don't notice anything out of place or sticking out that would catch your attention.
I guess I'll kind of check the coffin out, see if there's like a name engraved on it.
Yes, you can. Go ahead and make another investigation check.
Oh boy,
Sherlock gnome.
a 7.
7. Best you can make out is a name. Fesher Lumbristo.
Fesher.
Fesher. So I will put it in
Fesher.
chat for you. And while that is going on, Mass has begun as you three file into the church, and you notice it's more full than normal. However, it's easy enough to find a couple of seats. You see Father Eric standing behind the altar at the front of the church, arms raised, smiling, greeting people as their eyes meet. He notices you, Lug, and waves you over. Yoshi and Solana, are you guys finding seats, standing? What will you be doing?
Say, this is more of Lug's vibe. I'd find a seat with her and let Lug do the
Yeah.
talking.
Agreed.
Okay, Lug,
Yes.
as you approach Father Eric, he goes, Lug, I didn't know where you went off to. I may need your help with communion, if you don't mind. Lot more people this evening than I expected.
Of course, Father. No problem. And sorry, I was assisting the cook, and we ran into a little bit of an issue with some
No problem.
ingredients.
No problem at all. Appreciate you being here. And you see him kind of wave his hands and do this incantation. And there's a soft little glow near his throat. And his voice is magnified across the crowd in the church. And even those in the graveyard hear this voice coming from the church. And he says, "Welcome to the Temple of Saradomin. Tonight's Mass will be a bit different, as I want to recognize those that have traveled all this way and may worship other great deities of the realm. Saradomin, of course, smiles upon all and respects your devotion to other gods. Please, feel free to welcome them now. And there's a slight pause, and you begin to hear people call out, Gothics, Bandos, Tumikin, Elidinus. He pauses, giving anyone else a chance, and then says, Thank you, all. We must give thanks to those that empower and allow us to be a part of this world. And the sermon continues on, and a normal church service is underway. You know, Mass is going to last about an hour. And roughly halfway through, those of you in the graveyard, please make a perception check.
Oh snap!
Bundak got a 10.
Fubar 19.
Before I roll mine, I also cast dancing lights as soon as I notice the sun going down, just in case that I don't know when everything is taking place, but I wanted to call it out.
Okay, and what does dancing lights do?
It just creates 4 torch-sized lights. I was just gonna send one out in front of me to Fubar, and then the other one toward the door where Bundak is, and then the other 2 with me.
Okay, so you're just trying to keep this graveyard alight so
Yep,
so you all can
exactly.
see.
Yep.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. As far as perception goes,
And I want to be like hidden in the shadows, like behind this tree.
Sure. The light actually enhances that shadow.
Yep,
in the
helps
tree,
me.
So
Hell yeah.
perception check 9.
Nice.
Okay. So Fubar, hiding
Yep.
behind this tree, you are all listening to the sermons and prayers going on inside of the church. And about halfway through, 30 minutes in, Fubar, you notice something, a shimmer, a translucent something moving from the mausoleum area towards the church window at the back here, almost right in front of you.
Okay, I just want to hold my ground and just keep watching it, and like keeping an eye on it.
You see it float up to the window and then stop. And you make out a humanoid translucent something. A ghost, from what you've heard, maybe? And it's staring into the church window, almost
Does
as
it
if it's just listening to the sermon.
does it look like a common person, or like is he like any features that would make me think he does something specific? Like he looks, I don't know, like he might have been a warrior or something like that, or just a commoner.
Okay, go ahead and make another perception check now that he's in front of you with advantage as you're trying to look over this translucent being.
A 15.
So he's wearing very nice clothing, almost dressed up, except for a hat he has. It's like a woodland hat that has a feather sticking out of it. And it's just kind of floating, almost as if listening to what's going on inside the church.
I just watch him.
Okay.
Can Yoshi and I see the ghost through the window?
Ooh. Make a perception check with disadvantage.
I made a
19.
notes tab.
19.
Disadvantage.
So you're looking out over the heads of all these common folk that are sitting. Are you guys sitting or standing in the back?
I think we'd be standing, right?
Yes, standing in the back, more like observing than
Mhm.
engaging.
Okay.
Well, you're standing. I can't see. I'm 4 foot.
Okay. Because we're not really participating. We've been kind of like behind, just watching.
Mhm.
Okay. So you're kind of taking this all in. You've never really been a part of a more common religion's mass before. And it's all interesting to you. You're kind of looking around and you notice the stained glass at the front of the church. And you swear you see a face looking at the preacher from outside through the glass, and it doesn't seem like a solid face. It doesn't look like one of the three friends of yours that you know are out there, but you definitely clock it.
Okay, so I am standing like behind the last row where Yoshi is, and I like kind of kneel down next to him, like level and whisper to Yoshi and
So,
point to that window and say, like, I see something out there.
can I make a move to take a look?
Yeah, so roll a perception check at disadvantage as you shuffle over and kind of look up the aisle, trying to not get the attention of Father Eric, but
Hey,
looking towards the window.
that would be a 9, good sir.
Too many people in the way, you're just too short to see over all the heads to what she's talking about.
Just kind of like peeking. I'm like, I
I
look at
would
her and I
say
go,
we
I
don't.
can't see nothing. Like I motioned to her. I'm like, I can't see.
I'll say it doesn't seem to be moving, so let's not make any moves. Like let's just stay where we are. We don't make any more motion.
Before that happens, does Lug notice them trying to look past us?
Make a perception check at disadvantage,
Okay.
because you wouldn't really be like paying attention to them. You're more focused on your church duties and what the father's saying and actually engaged in the mass.
You said perception.
Yes.
I rolled a 9 and an 11.
So a 9. No, you don't see Yoshi poke out or anything like that. You're assisting Father Eric with what he needs and just kind of enjoying the mass as a good, faithful Sarah Doman follower would.
Praise Gord.
Praise
So
the
the
Lord.
mass continues for another 20 to 30 minutes. And as it's wrapping up and the final prayers being said, Fubar, you're keeping your eyes on this figure.
Mhm.
You see it turn from the window and begin drifting back towards the mausoleum.
Can I like follow it, like keep a distance but follow where it's going?
Are you trying to still stay quiet or are you just
Yeah,
following?
I'm trying to like sneak and like follow it so it doesn't notice me following it.
Okay, go ahead and make another stealth check as you leave your hiding place.
21.
Yeah, you keep your distance and follow it across the graveyard, and you see it get to the wall of the mausoleum and disappear through it.
Can I run through? Can I like hurry up around the corner? And would I notice, or is the door open still?
Bondoc, would the door still be open or would you have closed it?
Would have been open. I
Okay.
just pushed it open.
All
I
right.
would have came back out and just kind of hung out by the door.
Okay, so the door's not like clasped, it's open, and Bundoc's standing outside of this as you run around the corner.
And I gesture to Bundock and I go, "Hey!" I whisper, "Hey, open the door!"
Okay.
And then I want to run in real quick and look to see if I could see where it went. If like I got around the corner in time to see what grave it went to, or is there only one grave?
So you open this door as Bundock pushes open the door, you rush inside and you see the ghostly figure standing next to a coffin and it looks down at it and with the door opens it turns and looks at you and is just kind of standing there floating looking at you. Fazora, you clock Fubar running through one of your lights. It's brief. He rolled a very good stealth check, but he wasn't exactly trying to hide from you. And with the dancing light over there, you notice him dart past towards the mausoleum.
Yeah, I'm just gonna move that dancing light to disguise or I guess create shadows around them or near them in just whatever way I can continue benefiting them as I cut across and begin heading in the direction of them.
Okay, and at the same time, you also notice that the mass has wrapped up and the congregation is leaving the church through the same door they went in. Solana and Yoshi, you would be kind of the last to leave. So you're patiently waiting for everyone to stand and exit. Meanwhile, Fubar, this figure is floating, looking at you.
I want to. What's your name?
And it
Can it
points
talk?
at a placard on the coffin.
Can I read the placard?
Are you approaching it?
Sure.
Okay. You cautiously walk forward and look at the base of the coffin, and you read Fesher Lumbristow.
Are you the only one haunting this place?
And it goes "Ooh, ooh, ooh," like it's trying to communicate to
We'll
you, but
go. Can I tell it understands me? Obviously.
yes.
Go ooh once for yes and 2 oohs for no. Are you the only one here?
Ooh.
Is that one?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, why are you haunting here? Oh, I can't ask that. I want to look back at Bundock and I say, "Get in here."
All right. I step in and I assume I see this ghost.
For the first time, you are seeing this ghost standing in front of Fubar. Fazora, you see Bundock go into the mausoleum as you're walking across the graveyard. And then Solana and Yoshi, the church is almost empty, and you see Father Eric and Lug at the front of the church. What are the three of you in the church doing at this point?
While they're walking up, could I ask Father Eric about any paranormal happenings in the graveyard?
Oh, yeah, Lug. How did you know about that?
Um, we were asked to come assist with some possible issues um by the Duke.
His eyes widen. He goes, "Oh, you're the one he sent to help me." Okay. Great. Are these two with you?
Yes, they are. We also have 3 more companions currently in the graveyard.
Oh, okay. Yoshi. Hi. I didn't even
Oh,
recognize you behind that
oh
beautiful
no.
elf woman there. I'm Father Eric. Nice to meet you. And he holds out his hand towards you, Solana.
I shake his hand. I say, "It's nice to meet you. I'm Solana. While you were doing your sermon, I noticed out the window that you might have a ghost. It looked like a ghost. Is that normal for this graveyard to have ghosts?"
And his eyes widen. He goes, You saw it too.
I saw it.
Uh, okay. It started almost a week ago. I was doing regular maintenance on the grounds when I got a feeling I was being watched. And then I faintly heard a strange, like, ooh on the breeze. The hair on the back of my neck stood up, and I came back into the chapel and I just started praying. The next night, I was securing the gates for the night, and I swear I saw somebody or some form of entity near the mausoleum in the back. And it almost appeared to be beckoning me over. So I'm ashamed to say I took off running back to the church and continued to pray. Now, I didn't know if this was just a single instance, but the guards have also told me on their patrols they notice some kind of entity or being in the graveyard as well that they've seen but haven't been able to communicate with or catch for that matter. um I don't know what's going on. The only other weird thing that has happened was a little more than a week ago we had an instance of grave robbing, and it happened to be within that mausoleum. And I can't help but think maybe it's retaliation or punishment that it happened under my watch, and I'm just being tormented. That's why we use locks on the gates now, and I think that's why it's appearing more and more often is to try to scare people or scare me. It hasn't done anything harmful, at least yet. But that's what's going on.
So the body was taken out of the sarcophagus?
From what I have looked at during the day, it appears the coffin was opened and the skull of the body inside was taken. The rest of the remains were left. That seems to be all that was taken, and they took off into the swamp. And that's all my personal investigation and Lumbridge Guard have been able to do with the big event coming up. That's why I needed help.
That's very good information. I got one question. Why so many different worshippers of different deities in here today?
Oh, it's just people from across the realm coming to visit for the week, and we just opened our doors to all of them so they have a place to worship.
Just for fun, I'm going to insight check his ass.
Okay, go ahead and make an insight check.
17.
Yeah, genuine. He was just opening his doors, allowing a place for those that aren't normally from Lumbridge to have a place to worship. There's not really any other temples nearby that they would be able to do so. So this was just kind of we'll get everyone together at the beginning of the week, knock out this mass, and then have a fun week the rest of the week. So
Well, just curious. Never seen so many in here before. I go, any of them carry this symbol? And I hold out my necklace.
where did you get that?
I've had it with me my whole life.
Oh, that's the one that you had when you showed up on my door. Of course, I haven't seen that for many years. You still keep it.
Oh, yeah. Just a reason to keep thinking I was something else at one point.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, we've been over this before, Yoshi. I don't know what it means, but perhaps someone somewhere who's more studious than I or has done the research would know. I haven't covered much iconography in my day. I stick to the Bibles and the prayers, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I was just curious if any of them in here were carrying this symbol.
Not that I noticed, but I wasn't exactly checking everybody's jewelry out either. The three of you in the graveyard, Bundock, you see this ghost standing there, kind of communicating with Fubar. Interestingly enough, and Fazora, you are approaching the mausoleum at this point.
Yeah, come on in. He's chill.
Yeah, I step in and I don't know. Do I scream? Do I I don't know if I have any reaction to seeing a ghost. I have no idea.
Yeah, you walk in and you see this translucent figure, something you've never seen before,
Do I hear
floating.
her step in?
Yes.
The second I hear her step in, I turn and put my finger over my mouth like, shh. It's all right. Be quiet. You don't gotta yell.
So yeah,
We're
you
good.
tell me how Zora would react to seeing a ghost for the first time.
Yeah,
Like
I
a
think
real.
immediately I would do the like I was ready to scream and then hopefully catch myself.
I think Bundog would have. What the hell?
He's friendly. At least I think.
Do you bring the dancing lights into the mausoleum with you?
Yeah, I had one over my head and then slowly bringing the other ones in.
Okay, so with the one over your head, once it catches up to you as you enter, it makes this entity harder to see with the brighter light. It is see-through and hard to see, so the light makes it even harder as there's no darkness background behind it, but it floats there and is just kind of patiently waiting, looking at the three of you.
What do you think he needs? Like, I
You
don't
said,
really know a whole lot about Ghost.
you said you're talking to it?
Well, I ask it yes or no questions. And it's
Well,
one ooh for yes and two oohs for no.
that's
This
good.
this is his grave right here. And I point towards the casket.
Is there a name on there?
Yeah, it's Fesher Lumbristo.
Professor Lumbristo. Would that name call to mind anything for me historically?
Make a history check.
Let me see. 13.
So you've been part of the Varrock Castle as a squire. You've been in the libraries researching books of the surrounding areas, and you're mostly interested in the arcane, but occasionally you find history. The name rings a bell as one of the founders of Lumbridge and this settlement. But other than that, you
Sense.
can't remember much.
Yeah,
And he'd have to be pretty
Lumbristo.
important to be buried in here, right?
Yeah.
I just did ask. Well, I don't know if anyone can talk to him or ask him if did
Yeah,
someone
give it a shot.
break in to your coffin?
And it shrugs. You don't get a yes or a no, it shrugs.
Well, Red, what do you say we find out?
I mean, I noticed when I first came in, I noticed footsteps around his coffin, like someone had been in here recently.
I start trying to open up the casket.
Okay. As
I
you
help her.
approach, the ghost does not move. It kind of follows you with its eyes, or lack thereof. And you two are between 2 and 3 feet tall, and that's about as tall as this casket is, up on like a setting stone.
And beasts. 2, 3 feet tall beasts. Let's get that straight.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Very
DM
hard
seems to
to,
be trying to say something.
very hard to even reach the lid of this.
I spit on my hands. I rub them together and crack my fingers.
I stretch both legs.
I touch my toes and his toes.
One jumping jab, and I jump for it.
Okay. I want both of you to roll a strength check for me.
With advantage since there's 2 of us.
No.
8 for Fubar.
8.
2 8s. That's gotta mean something, right?
You both jump and give it your all. Shove it. You don't have any leverage when you jump, and it does not budge.
I'll see this, and let me give you a hand here.
No, we got it. We don't. I think we can do it. One more.
We don't need you.
But Doc, do you even try, or do you let them give it another go?
That's all right. Dude, I'm just trying to help, but if you guys really want to have at it,
All right, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab a chair.
That's smart.
Just open it, Bundock.
all right. I give him a hand.
All
Opening
right.
the-
You don't even need to roll.
Okay.
You're tall
Damn.
enough that you can just brace your legs and push, and the coffin lid does slide.
We got it.
Your
We got it
strength
started
score is
for you.
high enough.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
broke it loose.
Yeah. You
Yep.
guys did all the heavy lifting for me. I appreciate
Definitely.
it.
It's the only thing that makes sense.
With that, we'll jump back into the church. What are the three of you doing after hearing this explanation of what's going on?
I ask the father, do you know who wants to steal anything or who had the urge to?
Honestly, I have no clue. This has not happened in many, many, many years. Occasionally you get the grave robbers that are desperate looking for jewelry or whatnot, which is morbid and horrifying to say the least. But this has not happened for decades, probably in your lifetime, Lug.
Okay, okay.
Would I know how like weird the swamp is?
Yes. So you and Lug both have ventured into the edges of it when you weren't supposed to. It's a creepy place, usually covered in fog. It's in between the castle and the coast of the ocean. So there's always this humidity about it. There's creatures that live in the swamp. You're not sure how dangerous of creatures, but there's wildlife that lives in swamps.
Is it
And it's
like
just kind of a place people don't like to go. It smells, there's bugs, there's creatures, there's really no necessity to even go in there except for the occasional gathering of herbs that grow there.
Is there like dead trees in there too and stuff?
Yeah, there's fallen trees, there's vines, all sorts of pockets of water. Yeah, very muddy.
I go, we should probably go relay this info to the others.
Yes. I turn to the father and I say, "We will figure out what's going on. We'll take care of this for you." And then I start walking towards the door.
Oh, thank you. Solana, nice to
I
meet
follow
you.
her out.
I
I go, good
look
day. I bow.
I look to the father and say, "Pray Sarah Doman," and also bow.
Praise Sarah Doman, Lug. Yoshi, have a good evening. Thank you. And he nods to both of you. The three of you enter into a very quiet graveyard. You don't see your three friends here. You don't see anything going on. But you do catch voices on the wind coming from across the graveyard.
Is it dark?
Yes, so the sun is like a sunset. There's still light, but it's fading fast.
Okay.
So those dancing lights will look extra bright.
Yes.
They're still out. They're still out here, the lights.
You brought them all inside the mausoleum, right?
Yes, but I don't think we closed the door.
Okay. So you hear these voices on the air and you're kind of scanning this graveyard and you catch through a small doorway a beam of light emitting.
Okay. I'm just gonna start walking towards it.
What do you see? Do you see where they're at?
I think I see a light that way, and I like kind of point towards it. And I look at Lug and like, do you see the light? Because you're more familiar with this area than me. Do you know what's
And,
over there?
and Lug, you do see it. It's coming from the mausoleum in the corner of
Okay.
the graveyard.
I say, "Yeah, there's nothing over there but an old mausoleum with a coffin in it."
Will you lead us to it?
Sure.
Okay, and
You
it
know.
doesn't take more than a few minutes to cross this graveyard. The three of you, as Bundock pushes this lid off, and you look, two of you on your tippy toes to see what's inside. As you're looking in, you hear a commotion at the door behind you, and you see your friends looking in.
Is the ghost still there?
It is, but it's very hard to see with
Do they
the
know?
amount of light that's in here.
I'm gonna just let it happen. Let's see what they do.
Okay. So the three of you approach and you see your three friends looking into this coffin. What are your passive perceptions? Boz, Fubar, and Solana.
17 for Solana.
11.
12.
Okay. And then Lug and Yoshi, what are yours?
Lug is 13.
It's 14.
Okay. I got these written down so I just know for future. Lug and Yoshi, you're just like, what are they doing looking in a coffin? Solana, you glance in, see what they're doing, and you do a quick scan of the room, and you do see a very hard to see with all the light in here transparent figure floating next to the other side of this coffin.
Solana would be curious about it, but not scared of it. And so is probably more looking at the reactions of the people that are already in there. Might say, like, is it friendly?
And Lug and Yoshi, you have no idea why she said this. You don't know what she's
I
talking
turn
about.
around. I go, why'd you say that?
I hear her say that, right? Is it friendly?
Yeah,
Yes.
to you. I said it to you.
Oh, I go, that's Fesher, and this is his grave. Someone was messing
Mm.
with it, maybe, or he's a ghost. So
Mm,
he can answer
that makes
yes or no
sense.
questions. We have a good system set up.
Lug and
So
Yoshi, you two are completely lost at
I'm
this
like-
point. You can't see them.
As a student of Father Eric, am I aware of who was in the mausoleum?
Yes,
Like,
you do know that this is Fesher Lumbristo's mausoleum for sure. You and Yoshi both know that.
do I know who Fesher Lambristo is?
Yes, you and Yoshi both would from your education growing up.
They
Well,
nonchalantly go, "Yeah, that's Fesher. He's up
I
there."
got hit with
my
rulers.
who who is Fesher?
So Fesher is one of the original lords of Lumbridge, and he was known to have named the river Lum, this large river. And after settling here, he began to build this town from nothing. He used the lumber from the nearby forest. He is part of the makers of the bridge that goes over the river Lum, and he named the place after this bridge and after his name, Lumbridge. And he's just kind of the founder that was laid to rest here.
I see. So I asked the group. I say, why do you guys keep referring to like there's another person here?
You
Go
don't
ahead
see
and
the
drop the dancing lights.
Do you drop them all, or
I'm gonna keep one in the corner of the room, and I'm gonna step out with the rest of them.
okay?
Keep
As
staying
it
guard.
goes, the three disappear. You see this translucent figure kind of reflecting in the one remaining light with the black backdrop of the stone. There is a ghost floating in this room on the other side of the coffin.
And I say, Sarah Doman Christ.
I go, whoa, 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 what is that? And I back up. I'm like backed up against the wall.
He's friendly. He's just chilling so far. He hasn't done anything yet, other than listen to the service earlier. He was looking in the window.
And with
I,
these lights out, Solana, you do recognize that this is the same figure you saw in the window.
Thank you. I asked Fubar, did you say someone had messed with it? With the remains?
Well, we haven't looked in it yet, but Bundock said someone had busted the door open and left it unlocked.
I see. Okay.
I noticed. Yeah, when I went to check the door, it was like it wasn't. The latch is like broke, and there was footprints in here around the coffin.
That
Which
makes
now
sense.
you look down and there are obviously many more footprints in the dust here. However, the lid is now open, and after this brief conversation, three of you already know what's missing out of this coffin, but the three that opened it, you look down and you see skeletal remains, very dusty boned
Ew.
remains, covered in nice tattered clothing that's beginning to disintegrate. This is very, very old. And you look and see that there is no skull left on this body.
Holy crap. Did you always have no head? I want to look up at him and say that.
Woo woo.
Ah. I think his head's missing.
Yeah.
Woo.
Someone took it into the swamp.
Wait, what?
Took it into the swamp. Why would they do that?
I don't know. I just know it was robbed and they went towards the swamp.
Oh.
That's all I had.
So Solana is going to be moving towards the door to go down near the swamp. If anyone wants to help me look around, I think, Miss Fazora, you have light, right? Would you help light the way for us?
Gladly.
Can I ask the ghost one more question?
Yeah.
Hey, Fesher, if we bring your skull back, will that put you back to rest?
Again, it shrugs, but is like nodding, hoping, like a
So
hopeful nod.
he could have just gave me a confident ooh, and I'd have just went with it. Like, and then I say that to him and walk out the door, follow everybody out to the swamp.
Okay. You guys leave this side gate of the Lumbridge graveyard and enter into this small little path that leaves the graveyard, and it kind of splits and heads into this murky, smelly swamp. You don't notice anything out of the ordinary on this path. And you were told that it's been about a week or so since this event happened.
Can I look on the ground and see if there's like old marks or something?
Yeah, make a survival check.
That'd be a 24.
24. In the soft ground and getting softer as you move more towards the swamp, you pick up on lots of foot traffic. There are people that have come and gone over the last week from this swamp. You notice a lot of animal tracks, rodent, raccoons, mice. You pick up on a lot of these features. And this is pretty close to about as far as you've been willing to go in, you and Lug, in your younger years. You know the swamp can be dangerous if you're by yourself, but you don't notice anything concrete. You don't see a footprint you don't recognize or anything like that. It's just kind of an array of things, but you clock all of it.
And quick question, is that a natural 20? Because I have
Yep.
+4 to survival.
Oh yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, had this been done immediately after the event happened, you likely would have picked up on a foot trail or something heading into the swamp, but it's been a week of people coming and going along this coast and gathering things from the swamp, whether it be herbs or
No weird traffic going off a
mud
different
or anything.
direction or
Yeah,
anything.
nothing you can tell. You do know people traverse this swamp to get to Drainer Village. It is another path to head that way. You know that there is a wizard's tower if you were to cut through this swamp, and it is across a causeway if you were to follow kind of the coast. You've heard of hermits living in this swamp, kind of keep to themselves. But yeah, with it being so long, unfortunately, even with a natural 20, you can't really pick up a trail.
I'm gonna ask Yoshi and Lug, like, so who or what do you know of anything that would want to steal somebody's skull? Or what all is in the swamp?
Also, I wonder why his skull. Like, I wonder if it
Yeah.
had to be him specifically.
Yeah, like what's special about his skull?
I say Draenor Village that way, Wizard Tower a different way. Mostly just people down on themselves come here or just weird creatures. I'm assuming they think it's worth something, the skull of this man.
Lug, you do know of a. Make an intelligence check, actually, so I know how much to give you here.
Sir, yes, sir. That's a big 5.
Big 5. Okay. You've
Add in the
heard
bigness.
of a crazy old man that lives in this swamp, who Father Eric knows, and who used to be a part of the church. But he started reaching into this paranormal area. He started to be invested in the in between ascending and those that walk the earth. And he was kind of not cast out from Lumbridge, but wasn't allowed to really be a part of the church when he acted this way. And lest you know of rumors and talking with Father Eric, he does live in this swamp somewhere. And he goes by the name of Father Ernie.
I say, I remember a gentleman who was part of our church, but he got into some dark things. His name was Father Ernie, and I know he resides in this swamp, and I could almost bet he needs that skull for a ritual.
How long you been sitting on that little tidbit? That'd have been helpful. Huh?
Well, I had to be prompted to know that I knew it, because my brain don't work too good.
Ah, I feel you.
If it was going to be a higher roll, he'd have known it right away.
But yeah, nonetheless, you guys now know it, so do with that what you will.
Well,
Let's go find him. Let's go ask him
yeah.
some questions.
Sounds like we need to pay Father Ernie a visit.
The sun's setting. It is dusk. You have maybe an hour left of daylight.
We should probably call it for the night, don't you think? Going through the swamp at night would be not the best idea.
I would second that.
I agree. And if the ghost hasn't been harmful, there's no rush, right?
Hopefully. Yeah, it makes sense to me. Not sure. What do you guys think?
It'd probably be best to heal up,
Take a rest,
take
call
a
it for the
rest,
night.
and
Yeah,
figure
I
it
say
out.
We all
But-
meet at the church in the morning.
let's ask Father Eric or anybody else that might. Maybe we can get a better heading as to where Father Ernie lives in the swamp.
Yeah, we could ask him. I'm sure he's got
And if he
tabs on
has,
him.
yeah, maybe he's got additional info on Fesher too.
Okay.
What a crime. His name's Ernie.
Makes sense.
I'm taking a long rest.
All right. Right. You guys turn around and head back into the graveyard, back towards the church. You see Father Eric is inside, kind of cleaning up and straightening out the pews and taking care of the place after service. He goes, "Oh, back so soon. What can I do for you? I thought you were looking in. Did you find something out? Is it solved?"
Well, we think we know. We were informed that the grave in the building there was robbed, and looks like someone took the skull out of it.
Oh, the Fesher's took Fesher's skull. What
What
could
what
they
else?
do with that?
Well, Lug told us there used to be another priest in the town, a Father Ernie.
Oh, and he kind of chuckles. Yeah, Father Ernie, not one of the best to come through, but to be fair, he was very devout. You you think he would have taken the skull? Why would he need a skull for?
I don't know. We were just told he, according to
Dabbled into
Lug,
some dark magic, maybe.
yeah, he started messing with paranormal stuff, and that he lives in the swamp, and it
That's
sounded
weird.
like whoever took the skull went into the swamp with it. Correct?
Yeah, as far as we knew, but I can't see him dabbling in necromancy or anything of the sort. He was erratic and interested in that kind of research, but I
Well,
can't imagine he'd pursue it into ritualistic things. But
either way, we could mark it off him as a suspect. Do you know where, in the swamp he is exactly? Like a route for us?
not exactly. Unfortunately, there's the standard trail that those who travel the swamp take. I'd imagine he's off that path somewhere. It would be maybe a day's travel all the way through, so at least half of the day to get to his place, maybe.
Okay. Just another tidbit for I forget. Your ghost is Fesher himself.
What? Really?
Yeah.
What? You saw him?
Yeah. He was over his casket.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, did was it aggressive? Did you just see it?
Nah,
What?
he was chill. We're asking him questions.
And you see he has some like relief on his face. He goes, "Okay, well, hopefully he's not upset."
We
Okay.
think if we find his skull, he'll go back to rest, maybe.
That's, wow. Okay. Yeah. What are you guys doing now?
Well, it's getting dark. We're gonna take a rest.
Yeah, we're not
night.
from here. We don't even know what is in the swamp or
Right, exactly.
Not many do. There's those that come back. They talk of larger than normal creatures. You have your insects and your rodents, but they talk of giant spiders or snakes or frogs and all sorts of creepy crawlies. A lot of people just try to put their head down and get through it. But there's also beauty in the nature that is there. There's medicinal herbs that people go to collect, and we can use the resources of swamp water and mud for different things. It's kind of a yin and yang type of environment, but it's passable, and I don't think there's any like monstrosities lurking there, but I could be wrong. I do not know. Feel free to crash here in the church if you don't have places to go. Um, if there's anything else you need from me, let me know.
Father, I have a question.
Yes.
How long has Fesher been gone? Did you ever get the chance to meet him, or has he been gone for a
Oh
while?
no, he's been gone 300 years now, I believe. It's got to be just over 300 years.
And you're younger than that, I presume.
Yes, I am 78 years old.
You don't look a day over 77.
Oh, well, thank you, little miss. I
We're
appreciate
looking
that.
at the same dude.
He kind of like scowls.
And was do you recall any stories about Fesher? Was there anything that made him special or different amongst the people he was around? Like his head is missing, and I don't know, it just seems curious to me.
We're just making sure if it's him specifically.
From what was recorded, he was through and through an adventurer. He started in the wildlands in the north and worked his way down along this river, trying to find a place to settle. And he found this place here, nestled near the desert and along the coast and just to the south of most of the bigger cities that were beginning to be established. A quieter area from the way things go. He was involved with all sorts of creatures, giants and dragons and demons even. But he put his adventuring aside, and this is where he settled. He built a way across the river to get to the desert, and this is where he passed when setting up the settlement. And because of the area being named after him, he was constructed a mausoleum to rest. Um, Beyond that, I don't know anything special that any necrotic arts would be after, but I don't know much about that stuff, if I'm honest.
You've been very helpful. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Solana asks, was he known to be a devout man?
In the religious sense,
Yes.
not from what we can tell.
Hmm.
He didn't create this temple. This was added after the fact for those that wanted to worship had a place to go, but from what is written of him, he was just a chaotic adventurer and did as he pleased and didn't answer to anybody. Maybe he had
Hmm.
somebody in the back of his mind that he felt he should answer to, but nothing in stone.
I was curious because when you were doing the sermon, he seemed like he was really listening. So I thought maybe he might be interested in that aspect of it, but perhaps not.
Maybe he was. Now that he has returned, maybe he's just in general interested in what's going on.
Yeah, you might
That's
go talk
fascinating.
to him.
Oh, and he gets kind of this scared look. Maybe I'll try. Maybe I'll try while you're gone.
Yeah, tell Fubar, what was your would you work out with the ghost? How to communicate?
Oh, he answers yes or no's with oohs. 1 yes, 1 ooh, so, and 2 oohs for no.
Talking to a ghost. You actually conversated with the entity. Wow. This is a crazy coincidence. The reason we let Ernie go is because he was attempting to make contact and conversate with entities and deities and the undead. This is crazy that it's actually happening. Okay. I will ponder what you said. I will try to will myself to try to speak with this being. And again, feel free to use the church for the evening. And good luck in the morning if I don't see you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. With that, Lug and Yoshi, I assume you return back to your beds.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yoshi and Lug return to Lug's home. You know there's the option to settle outside of the castle, or if you prefer to crash here within the church, you're able to do so.
I'll check with the group and so what time do you want to meet up at the church tomorrow?
Sunrise.
Okay. And I'm gonna go back to
Sunrise.
that. I'm gonna go back to that tavern.
You're heading there tonight?
Oh yeah, get some more of that dwarvish ale.
Okay.
Not me. I'm going to bed.
No, not me either.
Okay.
Been a
You
long day.
guys, where are you two crashing? Oh, you have the tent along in the castle grounds.
Yeah.
Solana, what were you gonna daily evening?
I was also going to go back to the castle grounds and because Solana doesn't sleep
Mhm.
and just like meditate along somewhere around like outside. I'll follow Fubar and Fazora back if that's where they're heading.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How late are you staying up, Bundock? Are you just having one more to tie off the night?
Yeah. Just a nightcap. Nothing crazy.
Okay, go ahead and dock one more gold. And
He's closing it down.
where would you be sleeping?
Big bar guy.
Yeah, I talked to Father Eric earlier. He said I could stay at the church if I needed to.
Okay.
So I'll probably just do that. Then that way I'm right there to meet up with everybody.
Awesome.
Oh.
You all bed down for the night, heal up, regain any spell slots, and have these images of ghosts swirling in your head and are going to try to help it lay to rest the following day. And that's where we'll wrap it up for tonight. Thank you for listening to 99 Dnding. I hope you're enjoying the story so far. If you did enjoy, please like the video, comment your favorite part or character, and subscribe to see the next video on where our adventures are headed. Also, look for us on x.com at 99dndingpod or on Instagram at 99dnd. Join us next time as we continue the grind.